I can imagine as a high school student being unsure about what you want to do or feeling like you have to decide as a 15 and 16-year-old is a lot of pressure. That first job, that whatever you major in, yes, it has some influence over where you go next, but it is not the end-all be-all. My name's Missy Jenkins. I work for Monumental Sports and Entertainment. We are the owners and operators of the Washington Capitals, the Washington Wizards, the Mystics, Capital One Arena. I'm a business development analyst, so I analyze and evaluate any new business opportunity for the organization, whether it be a new franchise, a new technology application, any sort of opportunity that can help grow the business and kind of make us tech forward. So it's a cool job. I got involved in sports in college. I remember doing stats for the men's and women's basketball games. I was at a men's home game. It was the end of the season, and I think we had just beaten Syracuse. And I had front row seats doing stats, the stats that then get sent to your phone, that again get sent up on the big screen. And I remember thinking, I am getting paid to do something I love. How can I do that, and how can I figure out what this looks like? At the end of the day, when I was thinking about a career and a job, I wanted to think about what could I wake up every day doing that I would be excited about and enjoy. And so for me, that was sports. There's the sports management and operation itself, and that is the group that works actually with the players, with the coaches, with the teams. And then there's the sports business side, and that's the side that I work on. You're going to have all the same sort of areas that you would have in any other big company and a sports company. So, I think to think of it in that light is important, because you may know that you want to be an athletic trainer. That's the sports operations side. You want to work in marketing. That's the sports business side. If you want to do this job because you love sports, that's not necessarily enough, right? Like, I don't get to see players on a daily basis. I'm not going to games every day. And so I think that that's an important distinction to make, is that you've got to be really interested in the business side as well if you're going to do a job like this. That said, there's obviously a lot of perks. I get to go to Caps games, Wizards games, Mystics games. Last year, I got to go to a lot of the playoff games that were here for the Caps and the Wizards, and playoff games are a whole other experience and just so much fun. I was into a lot of different things. Sports was probably one of my biggest focuses. So I was a field hockey player and basketball player. I was really involved in student council, honor society. So many times between college and now, I have talked to friends who have said, how did you become such a good public speaker? Well, when I was a sophomore in high school and I was part of student council, one of my roles was to speak at our school assembly in front of 2,500 people. I also think the ability to work with people in my current role, the ability to just have a conversation has been really important, and is certainly a skill I learned in some of those activities in high school as well. I knew I wanted to work in sports. I knew I wanted to work in the business side. So I looked at all the league offices, websites. Oftentimes they have Learn About Us, and you can read all about their departments and all about their organization. I used LinkedIn to look at people and say, all right, so-and-so says he does business development for this league. What does that mean? And that's sort of how I navigated the large space that is sports business. I can imagine as a high school student being unsure about what you want to do or feeling like you have to decide as a 15 and 16-year-old is a lot of pressure. That first job, that whatever you major in, yes, it has some influence over where you go next, but it is not the end-all be-all. What I've learned, and again, I still have a long way to go to figure this out, is that career paths aren't linear. They don't go in just one direction. They can swerve one way and then swerve another way and then pivot backwards and then kind of move all over. And I think that if you can go into the college search or the career search with that perspective in mind, perhaps you'll feel a little bit less pressure. The other thing I would say is that I didn't get into my first choice of college, and I thought that my life would be ruined, that I wouldn't be successful, that I would hate where I ended up going. And I couldn't have been more wrong. I had one of the best college education experiences, which influenced jobs that I had after, influenced my friends now in DC 15 years later. You know, I think that if you can recognize that sometimes your option B or option C, you know, will work out in wonderful ways, perhaps in different ways than what you imagined, that it will, in the end, hopefully, you know, all work out.